What's up everybody, and thank you for joining me for another video. My name is Whack4863, but you can call me Whack. Today we're going to get into one of the things that you may have missed, may have glossed over in the dev live stream. Now I know there's a ton going on. Everything from a new battle pass and a store being added to the game, sorcery coming to the game, the attribute and perk overhaul that's coming to the game, as well as the building overhaul that's coming to the game. There's an absolute ton going on with Conan Exiles. Now, if you've missed any of that information, I have videos on all of that on my channel. I'll link those in the description of this video. One thing that they talked about towards the end of the live stream was Thralls and what's going to happen to Thralls in Update 3.0. And I gotta be honest, I'm a little bit concerned with the things that they said they were doing with Thralls. So let's have a listen to that clip.
Like a bunch of updates to like followers and Thralls, like just across the board. And this is going to be like a multi-stage process, so when the update launches, I believe, like generally speaking, Thrall HP is going to get nerfed. They will have, and damage actually, so generally speaking, they'll have less HP and less damage. However, you can strengthen them with the new, what was the new name of the
Authority.
Authority, yeah. So once, so now Thralls will be directly, or the Thrall's effectiveness will now be directly affected by your Authority attribute. So increasing that will make all your followers and Thralls and all that much stronger.
Okay, so right off the bat, we know that the health and the damage for our followers is going to be nerfed. However, they do bring up the addition of the Authority attribute. Now, this is a new attribute that none of us has seen. We don't know what it does, but it is going to be tied directly to your followers.
Taking it a step back, we know that Thralls are insane right now in terms of the,
yes,
the potential damage they can deal and the amount of health they have. And it feels like the Thrall is the star of the show. And really, when you're playing this barbarian power fantasy game, we want you to be the star of the show. So we've made some adjustments now, and we'll continue to keep making tweaks and adjustments as we add updates and quality of life features.
Okay, so this is very generalized, and I want to get more specific here. Realistically, the Thralls in Conan Exiles are very much like the meta builds with the current attribute system. There's maybe 20 Thralls out there that are even worth considering going and putting the trunch into in order to be a follower. And I'm including Archer Thralls and Fighter Thralls in that together combined. There's maybe 20 that would be recommended to go out and get. The rest of them honestly are aside to complete garbage. There's no reason to go and get them because they don't have the value and worth of the other Thralls. Now, something that I don't want to skip over here is that he says this is fluid. This is going to be updated and changed more than just this time. So as we get into update 3.0, we're going to need to look at how's that gameplay. Is this a good gameplay? Is the balance good? And if it's not, we need to send Funcom that feedback so that they know, hey, we've got an issue, we tweaked it a little bit too far, we took the hammer a little bit hard, or whatever that may be. So do be open and vocal, be polite, but be open and vocal about your experience after update 3.0 comes out. And again, we hear this line about you being the star of the show. You should be more powerful than your Thrall, and your Thrall should be your sidekick. Now, with the attribute changes, with the perk changes, with the changes to the game in general, I hope they've had that in consideration the entire time, because you cannot just trade perks and attributes like they are now, not give more power to the player and say, now we're going to nerf Thralls and you're the star of the show. That's not the way it works. We need to have a bump up as the player in order to be the star, or we're going to have to see a huge line of nerfs for content in Conan Exiles, and I really hate going down this road. So I hope they've gone the route of buffing up the player so that you actually feel like the star and you can leave the Thrall at home if you want to.
But like Andy mentioned, Thralls will have substantially less health in this update. One of the most notable patch notes is that Beastmaster Tamos had his tables adjusted to be correct. There was a little bit of a bug in those, which led to his absurd health pools.
So how much did he have? Like,
it's tens of thousands at the moment if you get him maxed out with the right perks. And now you'll be lucky to have him hit like 12,000, which is still an insane number, can I still point out. But the changes that we've made are meant to be safe. We don't want to nerf the game so hard that content becomes unplayable,
Right.
or you can't participate in it.
Okay, so are we saying bye-bye to Beastmaster Tamos? It's totally possible that that is going to happen. I don't know until I actually get my hands on the game and I'm able to really dive in and look at where these numbers lie. Beastmaster Tamos may still be the best option going forward. However, I'm honestly surprised that this is how they approach Beastmaster Tamos, that they're actually just going to knock him down a peg and nerf him along with everybody else. I'm really surprised at that because I think the issue that actually happened with Beastmaster Tamos was that he wasn't supposed to be knocked out. Yes, bing, bing, bang, bang, I know that just blew your mind. I've been sitting on that since the beginning of the Beastmaster Tamos run, because I really didn't want to be the reason that it got nerfed or taken away, so I've been sitting on that nugget of information for a long time. But when I looked him up in the dev kit, he is listed as a all Thralls base, no knockout. Any other Thrall that's in the dev kit that is listed under that same tagline is actually a Thrall that you cannot pull the truncheon out and knock out. That is a Thrall like the Arena Champion, Ladagarda, the daughter of Amir. Those Thralls that you can't knock out are listed under that same tag. So I think the bug has been that you've been able to knock him out so long, but I think it's very gracious of Funcom to leave him in the game and not strip him from you entirely.
So we are taking steps to get it to where Thralls are less of the thing in the spotlight and players are more. However, that authority attribute is meant to mitigate that as well. So if you're a person who likes playing with followers, and you that's just the way you like to engage with the game, you won't gain the health back that they lost, but we did also reduce their damage by 50% across the board. You can get that damage back through the attribute, and the end, like the capstone perks on there, are really cool. You can make like a single Thrall substantially stronger, or have multiple Thralls fall on you.
Okay guys, so he mentions a 50% reduction in damage. Now I'm pretty sure he's talking about the melee damage modifier or the ranged damage modifier. So I pulled up some numbers real quick and I did a little math. The Berserker is currently at 2.24 damage modifier. If they cut that in half, it's going to go down to a 1.12 damage modifier. Beastmaster Tamos is at a 2.08 damage modifier. If they cut that in half, it's going to go down to a 1.04 damage modifier. But they said they did this across the board, which is really kind of a problem because we already have the tier 4 bearers, which are a 0.47 damage modifier in the game right now. If they cut that down to half, it's going to be 0.235. Which means that whatever weapon you give them, they're going to do less damage than that weapon says it can do. Now that's already the way it works in the game right now, and I'm going to show you that here in a minute with a tier 4 bearer, but I want you to think of other Thralls that don't have a 2.0 modifier already and are going to have their modifier cut in half. Any Thrall that's under a 2.0 right now is going to be under a 1.0 once update 3.0 comes out, which means the weapon that you give them is going to do less damage in their hands than what it says on the info card for that weapon. Now again, I don't know what the authority attribute does. It may buff them up just tremendously and make it super overpowered if they're over the 1.0 modifier. However, if that's the case, then the Thralls that are over the 1.0 modifier will continue to be the meta and will still end up with the 20 or so Thralls that you actually should go out and knock out and have as a follower. Okay, so here I've got a tier 4 bearer, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to have him follow me. I'm going to show you his stats. I have not leveled him up at all, so he's not getting any extra strength from those attributes. I'm going to show you his damage modifier is 0.47 there. Now, what I've done is I've given him an iron axe. I've given him this axe because it has 0 armor penetration and it does 19 damage. So no matter what, you would think that piece of equipment will do 19 damage in the hands of any Thrall. Now, for those of you that don't know, there are other multipliers that come into play when they use a heavy attack versus a light attack. In this clip, he's actually going to use a heavy attack, which means it should do 19 damage plus that modifier. However, that's not what you're going to see. He's actually going to hit me for less damage than 19 with a heavy attack. Now I've taken off all my armor. You can see there I have 0 armor, so there is no damage reduction coming from perks or armor on my character. And I'm just going to ungod and uncloak. I am going to god right away when he hits me the first time. You can see I went from 200 to 186 with a heavy attack. That's a total of 14 damage. So it should have done 19 damage, it only did 14 damage. Now, when we're talking about these modifiers, remember it's a percentage. So as you put a more powerful weapon in this guy's hand, the disparity between what the weapon is and the actual damage he's doing is going to grow. So like I said, I'm a little bit concerned about this. Honestly, I haven't sat down and spent the time figuring out how many Thralls there are out there that are going to be under the 1.0 damage modifier, but I'm sure there's a ton, and I really think that Funcom needs to take a look at this and make a decision on whether it makes sense for a weapon that says it's doing X amount of damage to do less than that once you put it in a Thrall's hand. Now I want to know what you guys think in the comment section below. Is my thinking totally whack, or am I on the right track? I'd like to thank all my YouTube members for your continued support. Y'all are absolute legends. If you'd like to become a legend, there's a button that says join on this page. Click that for details. There's 2 videos on the screen. Click one of those to watch next, and I'll meet you over there.